What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dynasty Theory. I'm John Bauer. Find me on X at the Bauer Club. We got Dan Lamagna at Coach Dan Dynasty, and then we got Mitch Sorensen at Dino MC. Guys, this episode, it's one of my favorite ones of the year. It is our post NFL draft mock draft. We do one here on Dynasty Theory each and every season. We have a ton of mock drafts that have been hitting the DD Fantasy Football YouTube channel. I know there was one thrown out over the weekend. Just a ton of content. But we're going to try to keep it to an hour tonight, guys. Do you think we can do it, Mitch?
Sure can. I'll keep you on schedule. Don't worry about it.
All right. Jackson says, I know you're all on the clock somewhere. I see Dynasty Dave. Appreciate you, man. Anthony, Bindles, Jeff, Sean, what's going on? If you are watching on YouTube, whether it's live or back after the fact, hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. We would greatly appreciate it. All right. I see Rye. I see Chase. What's up? As you can see on the screen, 12-team Superflex, start 10, lineup league, PPR, and then an extra 0.75 for the tight end premium. So 1.75, but only the extra 0.75. We are going to be going in the order on the screen here. It's going to be a fast-paced episode. A lot of the episodes recently from Dynasty Theory and Mitch and I on Trending Fantasy have been very fast-paced, trying to get a lot of content, a lot of information, a lot of data over to everybody in a timely manner. I know, a lot of episodes can be pretty long, and there's a lot of stuff hitting the channel, trying to keep everybody up to speed, but also in a timely manner if possible. All right, without further ado, Mitch, as I ramble and say I'm worried about the time.
We are going so fast, we're going to tell you for a minute how fast we are going to go. Don't you worry about it.
Hey, if speed only impressed everybody, that's all right. Mitch, you have the 101. Again, 12-team Superflex, start 10, PPR, 0.75 tight end premium. What do you got?
I've been in well over 30 drafts this point. I haven't seen anybody but Ashton Genty go here. John's already typing it in. There's not a lot to add. The only thing that I will say is the 2 weeks since the NFL draft's over, I love the landing spot even more. Like you can't be more than 101, more so than he is already, but I'm taking him there every single time. So is everybody else in the universe.
I have not seen one situation where Ashton Genty has not gone 101. We're in a lot of 14-team leagues, 16-team leagues, obviously 12-team leagues, and I haven't seen it across the board. And this is really one of the first seasons that I think we've seen that, maybe going back to Barkley. Even Bijan's rookie year, there was talk about, hey, do I want Anthony Richardson? Do I want Bryce Young? CJ Stroud was a bit of an afterthought at that point in time. But yeah, I think Ashton Genty, it's pretty unanimous. For me at 102, this has not changed. It's fluctuated. So I say that Thursday before the NFL draft, I had Omarion Hampton as my locked and loaded 102. As the NFL draft progressed, it kind of shifted a little bit. And not so much that he wasn't the 102, but he was tiered with a few other players. He gets the first round draft capital, goes to the Chargers. Yes, they have Najee Harris, but Omarion Hampton, the really nice collegiate profile. I think he's going to be a workhorse there. And I know the main concern, a lot of folks, they aren't thrilled with the way they utilize the running backs in the passing game. That's not a concern for me. I think he's going to get enough work to really earn that 102. So, Dan, over to you here. What do you got at 103?
I love this, man. As we've been all of us in a ton of rookie drafts over the last 2 weeks. Love the Genty pick at 1. And just my strategy going in this year, JB, although I like your Hampton pick and I love the player, in no scenario whatsoever am I taking him 1 through 3. And that's just my strategy this year. I am big on 3 guys. I think Genty's locked and loaded number 1, unless I had one league where I was just desperate at quarterback. So then I tried to trade out of the 1, get extra for Genty, and then get what I needed. But for our draft tonight, man, I'm going to assume my roster is good at quarterback, where a lot of my rosters are, and I'm going to take Travis Hunter. I just love the talent. I want to lock down a stud wide receiver. Mitch took Genty on me. There was no miracle of him sliding. Give me my boy Travis Hunter.
Now, remember, and Dan, you made a comment that I just want to reiterate. Every draft slot is a different team. In previous years, I've thrown my version of the challenge flag, which is usually just a balled up paper towel at Dan, because he'll sit here and say, well, I got my wide receiver, I got my quarterback. These are 12 different teams. Let's make that clear.
We did that in our first pre-draft a while back. In years past, it was just us being competitive, JB. You know, we like to compete, the three of us, but I got you.
Yeah. I like how you're trying to cover your tracks now. In the chat, let us know. Obviously you can tell us how much you hate all of these picks outside of Ashton Genty, but anything maybe throughout your drafts up to this point, because we've had the first wave, we kind of had that second wave so far, but anything you've seen so far that has caught you off guard, whether it's guys taken at the top, the way things have shaken out with the running backs throughout the first, maybe the wide range of outcomes when you get to the second and third, but whatever the case may be, anything that you found interesting, drop it in there, and then we'll kind of comment on it as we get through this mock draft. Yeah, this is going to be a 10-hour long episode, boys. All right, Mitch, number 4, 104. What do you got?
I saw Dan put his hand up. Do you got something?
Just real fast, those odd, strange things. Safe league today. Love the player, but Tyler Warren went number 2 overall in one of my leagues today. Like, and I was picking pretty high in that league. It's like, all right, thank you. Someone's sliding. But,
and that's if anybody that's not aware, they have typical PPR leagues, but I'm assuming that one, Dan, was the plus one. So even more so than what we're doing here tonight. All right, Mitch, over to you.
See, this is the tough one because I know who you're going to pick. It's whoever out of these two players I don't pick. And dude, like the picks 103, 104, 105, there are 3 guys that I absolutely love. I've gone back and forth on this one a lot, but I'm going TEP McMillan. There is very little not to like about his profile. You know, there was things that I didn't love him as a prospect, but the Carolina Panthers obviously do. And they're more than willing to spend that top 8 capital on him. Even with Bryce Young kind of stood out the end of the season last year. So I'm going TEP McMillan. And I'm more than happy to allow John to have like the easiest pick in the world at the 105.
JB, I've got to throw the challenge flag for T-Mac's mom because she does not want him being called Tet. So, Mitch, if you could correct that, please.
We are getting there with the T-Mac. As you all know, I have issues with players' names 99% of the time. So no, we'll get there with T-Mac. Although there is, I guess there's 2 T-Macs now. I'll always hold the one near and dear to my heart.
I mess with JB weekly, Mitch, but I'm not messing with T-Mac's mom, all right?
That's fair. In
case she's listening to the pod tonight.
I heard actually through the grapevine that she may be a Dynasty Theory fan. So there you go. T-Mac. All right, at 105, and a little additional context here, like you guys know that I like to provide. I actually passed on this guy in one league in a rookie draft earlier today. I had the 105, and I was really set at quarterback. Like, I think Brock Purdy's my quarterback 3, passed on Cam Ward, went for the upside elsewhere. But without additional context with this team at 105, I am going to go Cam Ward. And Dan's pounding the table over there. I've seen him slip to 106, and right there in the draft that I alluded to and I mentioned, I let him slip to 106. So everybody talks about his ceiling that comes into play. He's not going to give you the necessary, rushing upside to really catapult himself up into the upper echelon unless you get a hyper efficient quarterback like Joe Burrow. But I think Cam Ward is good enough. You give him an offensive minded coach in Callahan there in Tennessee. They have Calvin Ridley. You have the running game. You bring in a quarterback that very well should be able to elevate the players around him. So again, Cam Ward 105, but And I won't be drafting him, so I don't have to call him anything. But yeah, Cam Ward 105 for me.
Man, I thought he was going to slide Superflex format. Would have loved to get a quarterback at 106, especially with the drop off in this one. I'm not really excited about anyone else after Cam Ward. So here I am at 106. Although a running back is very tempting, I'm going to go with the overall talent. I know we might be split with those in the chat which tight end you want to take, but I am a Tyler Warren guy, man. So at 106, tight end premium. I know I'm passing up a running back there that's going to make one of you guys happy next, but I need to lock that down. I'm pretending this is a roster that does not have Bowers or McBride, and it's a fix the tight end roster.
I think a lot of people are going to be siding with Dan on this one in terms of the 106, 107 spot for whichever tight end they prefer. But I got to say, and it might draw some heat, I'm thrilled that you took the tight end there, Dan. And I'm thrilled that that team at 106 took him, because there's going to be players that slip to me that I'm going to be thrilled about. Just going through some of the comments, Hunter will be 101 to 102 by the beginning of the season. Tony, don't hurt me. Don't hurt us.
Oh, just wait. Just wait.
Harvey is going too high personally for me. Here you go. To hell with both. McTet is better. I like that. Jackson, the first round is beautiful. Literally can't go wrong for team need situations. Yeah, when I go through my tiers, there's a lot of tiers that have different positions mixed in, and that's kind of navigated, helped me navigate through different drafts. I won't be drafting them. Ward over McMillan. I have Ward tiered above McMillan. Only one T-Mac, and then Loveland over Warren. All right, Mitch. Are you gonna get on Tony's bad side here right now?
I am sure am. It's Harvey. The thing is, I don't see a lot of difference between Harvey, Henderson, and Judkins. I've said it on a lot of podcasts. Every single week I'm saying it over and over. Whichever one of these running backs went to the Broncos landing spot, that's who I would have at that 106 spot. And so if it was Henderson, I'd love Henderson. If it was Judkins, I'd love Judkins. It's Harvey, so I'm loving Harvey. I'm willing to be wrong on that, because I think even being wrong, he's still going to produce. And I don't think the point per game difference with him failing is that much worse than what you're going to see from Judkins this year.
One of the big drawbacks, I like RJ Harvey. I like him a lot. Again, the board's just playing perfectly for me, gentlemen. It couldn't be any better. And I say this as I have RJ Harvey at 108. So I could talk about Mitch reaching on this by one pick. But one of the big comments and the drawback for RJ Harvey, it's the baseline coming into the NFL draft, right? And a lot of folks are looking at him as a reach by the Denver Broncos. And yes, he is an older prospect. He's 24 years old, but he gives you elite pass catching upside in an offense that really elevated the corpse of Javonte Williams last year to be fantasy relevant because of the volume. And like I said, he's 24 years old, but at the running back position, when we look out 2 years at a time, if even, do we really care that he's 24? And I know Jackson, wow. This is what I love about it too. Gavin, very next comment. RJ is better than non-Hampton or Genty running backs. And then produce fumbles. Here I am. Hayden, can't do it over Henderson. I agree. Give me Travion Henderson. Dan, I know that gets you excited in the britches because of that pass blocking. He's a monster in the pass blocking game. And I know
I love him
in my pass block per point per pass block league. There you go. I'm going to get a ton of points for Henderson, but I think he gives you he's a hyper efficient running back. He gives you the upside in the receiving game. He gives you the upside on the ground. One thing we talked about, Mitch, previously is durability is not a big concern for a lot of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And durability is not. I'm reading your comment in the private chat, Mitch. He's basically telling me to speed it up. But
no, it's not what I said.
But durability is not a huge concern for a lot of the running backs here.
Mm-hmm.
Henderson might be that one where you could look at that.
That's the hard thing, because like a lot in the chat right now is saying, how is Henderson not going above Harvey and whatever? If, like I was saying, if Henderson would have went to Denver, I would be in on Henderson. I mean, flip, flop, whichever one you want. If you like Henderson, I am not going to say one word like, oh, hey, you should have Harvey, but not Caleb. Like I know some people love Caleb. Caleb just is not in this tier for me.
Dan, Drake London or Travis Hunter? Our boy Frank, he turned down London for his Hunter. Just real quick.
Good one for Dan.
Hunter, overall elite talent.
Yep. All right, there you go. All right, Dan, 109.
So as I look, my top running backs at this point are gone. Quarterbacks off the board. Someone took Tyler Warren, so that's going to leave me right now with Colston Loveland. Whether it's Warren or Loveland, I saw earlier in the chat someone mentioned Loveland over Warren. To me, it's Diet Coke and Pepsi. I have seen them flip in every league. The reason I like Warren more, one, the coach of me, he's just nasty. Number two, it's just target distribution in Chicago. You've got DJ Moore, you've got Rome, they draft Luther Burden, they've got a back that could catch it. They neglected the tight end often with Kmet. I don't know if that's a Kmet problem or just, we'll see. Love Loveland at this point at 109 with Warren off the board. I think they're two stud tight ends. If I need a tight end in this draft, I want to come out with one of them if I could.
All right. So again, this team at 109, trying to solidify their tight end position here with the 0.75 premium. Mitch, over to you for the 110.
I appreciate you, Dan. I really, really do. I'm taking Judkins. Like, hammering Judkins. The pick is not on the block. In 5 seconds, I'm making this pick. Judkins is, I know we had a little conversation in the Discord earlier today about, hey, Jerome Ford's going to be, the little gnat there. I don't think so, because I could tell you this much. There were games last year, Jerome Ford didn't touch the ball in the first quarter. And how do I know this? Because Dan gave me crap about not playing in DraftKings contests. So I'm like, all right, start looking like, Ford, he's a pretty good cheap play. Dude doesn't touch the ball for a whole half. And I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm completely off. So if they're willing to do that for the terrible backs they had last year, yeah.
Frank, we appreciate you, man. Warren Loveland, Diet Coke. I don't want to get sidetracked here, but is there any type of comparison if we're talking about any diet pops or sodas, if that's your preference? Like Diet Dr. Pepper, elite, if you're talking about diet.
That's like an acquired taste. Diet Coke's in a league of its own to me, but
I mean, I'm a full flavor guy. I mean, look at me. My curves don't lie, okay? But like Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi, I don't know, man.
The zero sugar rock stars, though, I could tell you all about those. Great.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Jerome Ford. I think he, like Tony's saying, Samson's a fourth running back. It's Judkins' show. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I like Dylan Sampson. Mitch, you really like Dylan Sampson.
Yep.
But I think Jerome Ford could pose an issue for anybody hoping for that immediate 1-2 punch between Judkins and Dylan Sampson.
We'll see. I don't think he's going to. What's he going to get? 6 touches a game.
Okay. All right. Mr. Optimism. All right. At 111, this guy has been one of my most rostered rookies up to this point, but I typically have.
You don't have to take him here in most leagues. You're going to have to in this one.
See, that's exactly why I stopped myself. I'm taking Jackson Dart at 111.
Yep.
You typically don't have to take him at 111. If you're able to look at your board, you're able to look at the teams around you. Let's say you have 111 and 203. And your league, it's not super active. Not a lot of trades are being made, so people aren't going to leapfrog you at that early second. You can probably get Jackson Dart at that 203 spot. Right now, his ADP is 202. But pay attention, like if that 112, the 201, the 202, if they're pretty set at quarterback, Jackson Dart, he got the first round draft capital, obviously a later first, going to the New York Giants, who it's not a beloved franchise, but he is going to get the opportunity here eventually. And I know that that's an issue for a lot of people, the word eventually. It happened with Michael Penix last year. We didn't know when that time was going to come, but Jackson Dart most likely gets that opportunity sooner rather than later. So I'm going to take the upside in a first-round quarterback who is fairly mobile. He's going to be tied to Malik Neighbors. And yes, there is the risk that if there were coaching changes, GM changes, whatever the case may be, after 2025, would that new regime stick with Jackson Dart? That's a gamble at this point in the draft that I'm willing to roll with here. So Jackson Dart at the 111. But again, a lot of my shares have been early second. So if you can maneuver around a little bit, you have some room to play with there. All right, Dan.
Back to me. I'm happy it took Dart because he wasn't one of the two guys I was going to take here. Definitely respect to the Superflex strategy there for JB. One of my two guys has been sliding in some drafts. So I'm going to go with this pick, knowing John Bauer's in this league, and he might, want to trade me later for him. Give me the running back, Caleb Johnson. I really liked his film. I love the landing spot. I think he's the new Najee in Pittsburgh. And hopefully I could trade him to JB because I still have one other guy I really like on my board if Mitch doesn't snipe him next.
I actually, it hurts me because I have Caleb Johnson in this tier. We're looking at him, 3rd round pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That Iowa offense, it ran through him. As he went, so did that offense. Mitch, you've talked about it countless times, how the comments that we seem to hear are, well, look how
they're
big
all
those
quiet
holes
now because he went to Pittsburgh, so everyone's okay with it.
look at the holes there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has the opportunity to really take over sooner rather than later. Like, I like Jalen Warren as a complimentary back. He's not going to be a bell cow back. And I think Caleb Johnson, he can kind of get eased in. How involved is he going to be in the passing game to start? I don't know. But, there were some comments there in coach speak, take it with a grain of salt, but it was just, the team does like Warren, but you spend a third when the Steelers didn't have a second. That carries some weight for me too with Caleb Johnson. So I like Caleb there. Garrison, I don't want to drop names that we haven't picked yet, but Garrison saying I got Ibuka at 205 yesterday. I love that spot right there. And then Dave saying I'm considering Ibuka at 107 in a draft. Again, I hate being that person that's name dropping, but can't help myself. All right, who do we got? Mitch.
This is the greatest draft ever. I'm going Ibuka. Like, every single name is just slamming down to me. I'm not afraid that he's behind Evans and Godwin. I think we all kind of know the situation there. Evans is extremely old. Who knows when that body's going to give out? And Godwin's body is already having issues. And so the general manager came out and talked about to where Ibuka is kind of, their insurance policy against Godwin. And I'm more than happy to take him here. I don't think I've ever seen, we've seen it in the chat, so people have seen it. I'm not sure. I have seen it in my leagues, him go in the second round. Usually I see Caleb in the second round. I'll see Jackson Dart in the second round. Yep. Every once in a while, the tight ends kind of drop, but Ibuka is pretty firmly in, that 110 to 112 area. And I would say like the vast, vast majority of my drafts.
I love this comment right here from Eskimo. Is Ibuka the safest 201 ever? If he does nothing this year, his value is probably the exact same next season.
That
he has that
of Ricky Pearsall from last year. It was like the exact same thing we talked about.
Right, but a little bit later, obviously, I think Ibuka, you could certainly make a case that he has the better profile coming in, and certainly more name recognition producing at Ohio State with all the other receivers that we've seen come through there. But Mitch and I on Trending Fantasy coming out this Thursday morning, we're going to be talking about some of the guys that we really think can take that step their rookie season, whether it's production, or just hype, or whatever the case may be, from a value perspective, who has the best chance to really improve. And one thing we always talk about is safety with insulated value versus the wider range of outcomes. And I couldn't agree more with Eskimo here. Ibuka, if he doesn't produce, well, Mike Evans, he's got the contract situation. Is he still there? Chris Godwin, does he return to form? So I like this pick with Ibuka here at 201. I'm also going to go a first round wide receiver. I certainly lean more towards the number side and the metrics and the analytics, but Matthew Golden in a wide receiver room that is seemingly wide open. You have a lot of decent wide receivers, and then you have Jaden Reed, who certainly is the best one there, in my opinion, up to this point. But Matthew Golden can give them things that maybe these other receivers can't. And, Mitch, I know you made the comment that you read the blurb that LaFleur, we don't really need a number one wide receiver, but maybe that's something you say because you don't have a number one wide receiver.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I still can't really buy into Golden at the 202. I think his upside, let's say he goes out and he performs well in that offense, maybe he's worth in, the 26 rookie drafts, maybe he's worth the 111. I don't see him ever jumping up and being worth like the 106 or the 107. Like Ibuka, I think has every chance in the world to be worthy of a top 5 rookie pick. I don't know if Golden can ever hit that.
He might even be better though. I was hoping Golden was going to slide to me. He was one of the two guys.
I'm just glad you guys are picking him.
Frank won't take him there.
Frank says I wouldn't touch Golden with a 10-foot pole. All right. Over to Dan at the 203.
Yeah, he put me in a little bit of predicament here because I was really hoping Golden would slide. It was weird. Before the Safe League drafts, he was sliding really deep, like mid-second. There was even a late second or two in a couple drafts. I'm like trying to trade up and trade all around, and I ended up with a few Golden shares early. And, there's that little part of me that has the devil on one shoulder. That's Mitch saying about the Green Bay strategy and offense, and they don't need a number one receiver. And I get all that. But I just think the talent's so great. The investment's great. Green Bay's never drafted a first-round receiver before. He's fast. Steve Smith loves him. Like he's my top receiver in this draft almost. So I love the value you could get at him, but don't matter because I'm not getting him here. So I'm gonna pivot, and I'm gonna stay on the wide receiver train here, and I'm gonna go with Jaden Higgins. I think he could be the next Tank Dell in Houston. I love the talent. I like his size. I love the opportunity. I'm going to go with Jaden Higgins.
All right.
Well,
Mitch, 204. Who do we let slide to you?
Scatabo. I mean, the hard thing with him is I think it's such a troll pick. I really, really do, because there's a chance to where this 4th-round running back just literally isn't very good. But he's had so much hype and talk about throughout the process that, like, I almost feel obligated that you have to pick him in the top half of the 2nd round, because if he does well, his value shoots way up. And even if he does bad, there's still going to be enough people being like, oh no, next year's when he's really going to take over. So that's who I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I mean, this comment here from retired Ridley Truther, it says a lot when managers are essentially saying they'll almost take a 4th-round running back over a 1st-round wide receiver, give or take a spot or so. And again, you look at Cam Scatterbo, obviously he gained steam as the college playoffs went on. And with the depth at the position this year, a lot of people saying, well, early 4th round, yeah, he didn't get the day 2 draft capital, but he was right there. He goes to a spot where Tyrone Tracy obviously took over for Devin Singletary, but who's to say Cam Scatterbo now doesn't do the same? And then it just goes back to the profile with Golden. So I certainly understand it, but I can't bet against the 1st-round wide receiver at this point. Is it always going to pan out? Certainly not. Does the NFL get it wrong a lot? Yes, especially when we're looking at wide receivers that have gone between pick 20 and the end of the 1st round. I'm going to go Trey Harris at 205. He's a player that I think could get off to a slow start, but then once Mike Williams, hopefully he stays healthy. I don't know if it's certainly a possibility. Is it a probability? Is it probable? Probably not. So Trey Harris of the Chargers, I think he gives a really nice 1-2 punch with Ladd McConkey at receiver, and then obviously tied to Justin Herbert. I see Frank's comment, Trey Harris's yards per route run numbers are otherworldly, and then he says limited route tree. I'm not saying, by no means am I saying he's Brian Thomas, but Brian Thomas was said to have a very limited route tree. Again,
It's
disclaimer,
the exact same.
I am not saying he is going to be Brian Thomas. All right. Who do we got, Dan, at 206?
I'll stay on the receiver train. I think he's too talented at this point. Give me Luther Burden, tight to Caleb Williams. He might be better than Rome. Like, I'd love to see what Luther could do there. So give me Luther at this point.
You finally did it, Dan. You finally sniped me.
Feels good.
Yeah, that's
overdue.
That sucks.
So to recap,
because this is where the draft sucks for anyone following along. The 206 is where it's like there's 5 players I could pick here.
So you say it sucks. You and I kind of not a disagreement, but you said like, I don't want to make any of these late second, third, fourth round picks. I'm like, there's a lot of players I really like, but again, in looking into things for our episode of Trending later this week, if you look at players taken out of the like top 15 picks the last 2 years, it is rough when you do a 1 year look ahead.
Just a little bit. And that's all I'm saying. All these players have a chance of, I don't want to crap on anyone's parade, right? Like all these players can be great. Every one of them is going to be a Pro Bowler, especially if it's the player that you like. But more than likely for the rest of the draft, there might be 2 or 3 really fantasy relevant players that you're going to want to roster for multiple years.
Just looking at last year's class, which was an absolute historic class, and kind of giving a longer leash to some of these guys that were taken early. But out of the 14 guys, so up through the 202, 13 of them either rose in value or like they lost minimal value. Like, yes, Marv lost value, but still a highly valued dynasty asset. Caleb lost a little value. Out of the next 22, and I did 14 and 22, 36 first 3 rounds, only 2 of them rose in significant value. Bucky Irving and Tyrone Tracy. We got Benson, Keon, Parasol, who actually maintained value. Adonai Mitchell, Leggett, Roman Wilson, Lloyd, Wright, Polk, Corms.
Say Jalen Polk has to be in there somewhere.
Yep. Sinnott, Burton, Ray Davis, Corley, Vidal, Franklin, Bucky, I said Luke McCaffrey, Rattler. So like Jatavion Sanders, Javon Baker, like those were the top 36 last year. And again, a very top heavy class, historic class. But that's when, we get to this point, it gets interesting. Big tier. I saw the comment. Let me scroll up. Big tier means trade back opportunity, right? Yeah, there's still people that are looking to trade up at this point. And there was a player that slipped, and we'll get to him here shortly. He kept slipping, and I tried to trade up for him, and I think I was able to in the one draft I'm thinking of, and because he slipped a little further than I thought he should have. But just to reiterate, to recap the first 18 picks here very quickly, if you're listening on the podcast feed and not watching on YouTube: Ashton Genty, Amarian Hampton, Travis Hunter, T-Mac, Cam Ward, Tyler Warren, RJ Harvey, Travion Henderson, Colston Loveland, Quinshawn Judkins, Jackson Dart, Caleb Johnson, Emeka Ibuka at the 201, the Hayden Matthew Golden at the 202, Jaden Higgins, Cam Scattaboo, Trey Harris, Luther Burden. Mitch, start us off at 207 with the second half of these first 3 rounds.
Mason Taylor. I think there's like the 3rd tight end. And, I fell off my Ferguson love. Everyone's kind of talked the sense into me on that one. But you just look at Cole Kmet when he was with Justin Fields the last year, he had 90 targets. And then you look at the depth chart for the Jets, unless you think Jeremy Ruckert is going to keep him off the field, I just think it's a really smart pick in these kind of in the upper tight end premium leagues just to take a shot at Mason Taylor at this point, because he's going to hold value. He's going to be the starter for a little bit.
I'm laughing at Mitch. You pronounced Tootin wrong.
It's fair.
It was a very strange way to pronounce it, right?
Yeah, it was. There was a T. It happens.
All right. If I'm in a league, the quarterback dynamic here is going to come into play. But if I'm just going strictly off of my tiers and the way I have them ranked without additional context, I am going to pronounce it correctly. I am going to go Tootin at the 208. He very well might be a 0 when it's all said and done. At this point, we are sitting here May 5th. We all have that hope, right? We all believe, hey, something is going to happen. You have Liam Cohen coming in, who obviously everybody saw what he was able to do with the Bucks and just the offense flourished, and that's going to happen in Jacksonville. Tootin is the only guy, and they took somebody in the 7th, and it's slipping my mind, and it's going to bother me here. I can't think of who it was, but he's the only back there of relevance that this regime brought in. So, of course, he's going to leapfrog Bigsby. They're going to trade ETN here in a week or two, and then it's Tootin time. Scootin' Tootin. He does have the elite speed. Talked about him a lot. Pre-NFL Combine is somebody that I thought could really pop off and get a little more notoriety here within the Dynasty community, and he did just that. So Bayshall Tootin, 208. Could be a 0, could be a home run pick. I don't know if we really get an in between. Dan, 209.
All right. Mitch, for not liking anyone at 207, got me right back after sniping him, and he sniped me. I love Mason Taylor. I love those NFL genetics, man. And then Tootin, that's a good one, JB. I do agree with you. I think ETN goes. I love this team's backfield, and there's just too many of them. So here, I heard you before, JB, about a quarterback, but I'm also it's in the mix for me, but I'm going to stick to my board, at least for now. And I'm going to go Kyle Williams over there in New England. I don't like any of their receivers. And you tie this kid to Drake May, they were forcing Butte last year. Bourne was trying to get on there. I'm still not convinced Diggs is back. Mac Hollins is Mac Hollins. Pop Douglas is a little twitchy for some catches here and there, but I think Kyle Williams is their first really good receiver they have. So love his speed. I'm all in here. He's got great instincts. He's a football player. He's explosive. I see some big plays there in New England.
He is a football player. That is true.
But he's not like Trey Harris big and he's like my size, guys. He's just like a normal dude that balls out on that field.
That's not helping me like him more, Dan.
No, he's got this. But see, the difference is he's got electric speed, and I had my speed. So there's definitely a difference. Work ethic only took me so far. But Kyle Williams, man, he's got some good genetics there. So give me Kyle Williams.
I have so many thoughts right now. So many thoughts. It's good whenever Dan jumps in and said, this dude's a football player. Well, we're in a whole lot of trouble if he's not.
Yeah.
I'm a coach, JB. There's some guys here that just don't love football enough, or they're just genetically God's gift. This guy he's different.
Nick says, wait, which guys were picked that aren't football players? Well, it very well could be the guy I took. Jared in the comments, I'll laugh when Tootin gets 5 snaps all year. Jared, don't you put that evil out there. Don't you even say it. And then we're all convinced ETN is getting traded. Is it within the range of outcome? Sure. I think they stay pat, at least to start the season. I mean, again, I'm shooting for upside with that 2-0 pick. And this has been about the range that Tootin's been going. He's got the ADP around 208. Kyle Williams right around 302. So probably could have gotten him a little bit later, but Dan's looking to secure his guy. He wants to get that football player that has the same build as him. You can't fault that logic. All right, Mitch, what do you got at the 210? Oh, and make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We greatly appreciate it. All right, Mitch.
We good?
We're good.
Okay, we're good. Okay, so this is a guy who I've actually taken around this spot a lot in drafts, and that's Tyler Shuck. And I said Shuck, right?
Shuck.
See, I just did the pronounce it thing to make sure that I wasn't wrong on that, and that's not what the pronouncing said. But anyways, the new Saints starting quarterback, because Derek Carr doesn't have a shoulder, I'm taking him. Then when he actually plays, I'll figure out, how they choose to pronounce his name, because it'll probably change every single week. But I mean, realistically, there's a very good chance that he is going to start week 1. He's going at the 210. He's going at the 302 in a lot of drafts. Why are we allowing this to happen? Is it because we think Carr's going to come back and like take over the job? Probably when he's healthy. But if Tyler does really well, then he'll just keep the job, I think, because they have to get out of that salary cap hell that they've been in for the last 5 years. So I think I know we draft him here because he's that like second round guy that we don't really love. We like all these positional players a little bit more, but if you just take a step back and be like, oh yeah, he's going to be a starting quarterback week 1, we should probably just take him here.
And here's the thing too, and he slipped to the third in a lot of drafts. His ADP right now is at 212. But and I see Dynasty Dave's comment. I took Shuck 212 in one draft.
Mm-hmm.
It's with the hope that he is going to get some starts. Whether or not he's a longer term option, we'll see. He's a top 40 pick though. Yeah, I saw the Davis Mills comment. We saw the failed Will Levis experiment. We see.
I'm not saying he's going to be good. I'm
no.
210. I'll take him.
But that's you should be able to find a market as long as he does see the field. And I do believe he does at some point in time, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later because he's about 43 years old right now. So it's got to be soon. All right. Oh boy. At 211, I'm going to go Jack Besh. Second round draft capital, goes to the Raiders. Hopefully this is a revamped offense. A little repetitive at times with the things Jacoby Myers can do, but Jack Besh gives you more of that power slot option. ADP at 207. It's going to be interesting to see the way that Geno Smith can potentially elevate this team. And now you have Besh, Myers, Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty. This offense is coming together. Are they going to compete in that division? I don't think so, but we've seen crazier things happen. But give me Jack Besh. I don't know if he's necessarily a home run hit at this point in the draft. I kind of did that with Tootin for the 208 team, but this team wants to play it a little bit safer. They want to get possibly that 10 point per game receiving option in Jack Besh. All right, Dan, 212.
Jack was on my radar there, so you just took him off.
Here, really quick. Sorry. I mean, we keep getting good comments. I want to, Mitch, how many wins would Shuck need to keep the job for next year?
Who knows? 6, 7. I don't know if he's going to even keep the job for next year, but I think there's an opportunity for him to rise in value over the 210 at some point. Like you could probably end up trading him for an early 26 second at some point, and we'll do that.
Brandon says Sanders is going before Shuck in every one of my drafts. Yeah, their ADP, Sanders is 211, Shuck 212, but I've seen it that way too. I've seen a little variance, but not too much. So I agree with that comment there. And then I see Big D as Shuck around and find out. Shuck around and find out. All right, Dan, who'd you go with? Or I cut you off. Go.
You cut me off, but that's good. You took my guy Jack Beck, and then you cut me off. I took Beck around that point pre-draft, so definitely liked his landing spot. He's another guy that's a football player, man. He's got a great story. But I'm gonna keep riding the tight end wave in the premium. If I didn't get, one of those big tight ends, plus Mitch took Taylor, that's 3 great tight ends off the board. Give me Elijah Arroyo here in Seattle. He's got a great opportunity. I think they moved Noah Fant. Noah Fant's never really done anything. They're really talking him up there in Seattle. So if that coach GM speak is for real, he's a guy. So give me Elijah Arroyo.
John, how did you know to type in Elijah before he said it?
As soon as he started talking about the tight end, I just...
Here's my thing.
Wait, are you upset that I didn't assume it was Terrence Ferguson?
I'm just upset that you didn't allow a chance of it being Ferguson. But I'm not going to pick Ferguson. I know I'm going to choose Ferguson in this draft, but I'm not going to do it yet. But we'll get there because I have to take Woody Marks because I have so much Woody Marks that it's almost really bad that I have so much of him, but I see no reason not to take him in the 3rd round.
Can I throw out a disclaimer?
Okay, go ahead.
If you are in a non-DD fantasy football community league, if you were out in the wild, you could get him a little later.
Why couldn't I have said that? Why did you have to say that? It was my pick, John.
Well, I just wanted to say it, so I did. But I fully intended on taking him at 302. And because you don't need to take him in the 2nd. You probably don't need to take him in the early 3rd. But he is my most rostered rookie as well. But yeah, keep going. Oh, man.
No, you stole my thunder. You don't have to take him here. But it's one of those two where I knew you would have taken him. But this is where in all of my leagues, I'm playing this just like I would if these were my teams. If I have the 301 and this is how the draft's gone so far, Woody Marks is on my team 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, if you've loaded up on 3rds, early 4ths, he is still, and there's got to be a glitch on the back end, but he is still not showing up on the Dynasty Data Lab ADP. And I think I referenced this last week. It's a fantastic website. It's a really cool visual, the way to utilize it. But again, there has to be a glitch on the back end. But if that allows him to be pushed down further in rookie drafts, I think he adds another element to that backfield and could come in. Yes, Dameon Pierce is there. Talked about Jerome Ford maybe being that annoying running back that could stop Dylan Samson from getting to the number 2 position sooner rather than later. Maybe Dameon Pierce is that guy in Houston. But Woody Marks, we know that Joe Mixon at the running back position. He's a running back. Of course, he gets dinged up. But yeah, I like Woody Marks a lot, and I'm a little upset that you took him there. I'm gonna snipe Dan here, I think.
I'm just gonna snipe Dan.
I'm gonna go Jaden Blue.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
We have talked about
the whole way.
We have talked about. Oh geez. We had a really bad storm a few days ago in Pittsburgh, and now it's thundering again out here. I swear to God, if I lose power, I'm going to lose it. But Jaden Blue, we talk about the backs in this class that they have different types of potential value. Like I'm just going to Jarquez Hunter. The Rams, they like to do a 1-for-1 replacement if anything were to happen. So whether that's Hunter possibly taking over Corum eventually, or just, who knows what happens with Kyron Williams for the long run. But so there's that contingent upside. Woody Marks, I don't think he needs anything to happen to Joe Mixon to have a role in that offense. Brashard Smith doesn't really need all that much to happen to be involved in the passing game. I bring this up because Jaden Blue, you have 2 guys there that they just brought in. If we don't see much of an improvement from Javonte Williams, if Miles Sanders, he reverts back to what we saw at times last year where it wasn't great by any means. Jaden Blue, he gives you the speed. He gives you the ability to work in the passing game. Yes, he was a 5th round draft pick, but this is a backfield that should show that he can have that upside, even if nothing were to necessarily happen to the guys ahead of him. So talking about you need some things to happen, but you could take on a larger role, or you could be involved right away, with a special spot in that backfield. So Jaden Blue, 302.
I'm just so mad at you. I swear he's a Cowboys fan, Mitch. I'm telling you, he's a Cowboys fan.
Like Jaden Blue, I think he only did it so you can't pick him, to be honest.
He is that guy in all my leagues that know I'm a Cowboys fan, and like their stock rises like higher than their ADP. Whatever, JB. So all right, I can't go with my heart here. So maybe it helped me. Who knows? But I'm gonna go with Dylan Samson. If you're taking Blue and Woody Marks went, I see this little running back run I'm feeling here. I love Dylan Samson at 20 years of age. He was a Mel Kiper top 5 guy going into the draft. I like Dylan Samson. I think you got a little 1-2 punch there in Cleveland that's forming. So I'll bet on talent with the running back and go with Dylan Samson, even though I'm not happy about it.
I'm glad you repeated yourself because I was still worked up over the Jaden Blue pick. So Dylan, Samson, Mitch, we got 9 minutes to get through this.
Through your next pick.
Right? And if listeners, if you go back in time, Mitch, John, and my takes, John, I guarantee you, has taken over Mitch and myself tonight.
I know I talk a lot, but I genuinely get so excited to be able to speak with you guys on a weekly basis. All right, Mitch, go.
He's turning red, Mitch. Go ahead.
Well, now Terrence Ferguson, because here's my thing with Arroyo, right? We're like, oh, they're going to trade Noah Fant. This coaching staff loves him. We know McVay really wanted to trade it for Brock Bowers last year because he doesn't love the tight end room. And then they go and pick Ferguson's. Everyone's like, oh, there's too many people in front of Ferguson. No, and don't throw a flag. I know trading out for Brock Bowers and picking Ferguson is a different thing. But 2 years in a row, they have wanted to attack the tight end position. They did it this year. And I'm sorry, Tyler Higbee and Parkinson, they're not going to stop Ferguson from producing at some point this season. So in the third round, for me, I am more than happy to buy into Ferguson here.
All right.
Good pick.
At the 305, I've taken Cam Ward. I've taken Trey Harris. I'm assuming in this situation, I've solidified my quarterback room. Give me Jarquez Hunter. I think he's a well-rounded back, and I already talked about it. Like, there is a very good chance he gives you nothing.
Yes.
There very good chance. But we know the Rams, they like to almost, like a lot of these teams, like if a starting running back goes down, you don't really get a 1-for-1 replacement in terms of usage. You get more of a committee approach implemented. You don't really get that with the Rams under McVay. So that's what the play is here for me. Again, he could be a 0, probably is going to be, but you got to get through Blake Corum first, and then we'll see what happens with Kyren Williams. Well, I like Kyren Williams a lot, but that's the contingent upside with a player like Hunter. So I'll go that route. I mean, like, I'm not pounding the table for him, and I would have gone a different direction probably here if I didn't take Cam Worth at 105. Hint. Okay. Dan, who do you got?
Hunter was not on my short list, JB. I have a few guys that are here. Running back or receiver, flip a coin. I'm gonna go with my boy. I'm gonna go with my Georgia Bulldog and just bet on talent. Give me Trevor Etienne. Get a few guys I like here, but I'm gonna go Dogs tonight. Love the talent, love the speed. Hey, if Brooks doesn't rebound from injury, it's just him and Chuba, man. Chuba's been lucky. I like Chuba. He's solid, but this could be a nice 1-2 punch.
Asterisk here. I'm going to get out ahead of it before the comments start flowing in. Yes, you can certainly get him later. Dan, I'm not kidding. He is available on waivers post-rookie drafts.
Yeah, he's floating there. There's some receivers that I know I've been targeting in the 4th round. I know one Mitch is probably going to take with his next pick. I'm almost positive. But I was in a running back mood, man. I wanted my boy ETN here.
That's good. I'm actually looking at a draft right now. He was picked at the 306 in a 12-team draft.
20 years of age.
Yep.
I am really surprised by that, to be honest with you.
He's young and he's good, guys. Like, I do like him.
I won't take up a lot of time. It's Jalen Milroe. We all know the pros. We know the cons. There's a lot more cons than there are pros. But that pro could be pretty electrifying if he could figure it out. And I just have no faith in Sam Darnold being really good with the Seahawks. And we already know it's a 1-year deal. Give me Milroe just for the upside.
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but does ETN's collegiate production, Dan, does that not concern you at all? Is that, again, we're talking about 3rd round.
He's a Bulldog. Here. No.
He had a little bit of trouble staying healthy, but when he was healthy and he was out there, he was their explosive running back. So it's just a little bit bet, on the NFL bloodlines there with his brother already in the NFL. I like the kid. I'm rooting for him. Again, I'm in so many drafts. There's so many that I haven't taken him. Again, Like the kid though.
It's funny because I did a guest spot before the NFL draft, and one of the guys that we talked about was Trevor Etienne, and obviously just the collegiate work, the overall usage. I even said, like, I'm not going to have much of this guy because I think people are going to like him a lot more than me. I have waiver claims in for him, and probably more than I should be spending. Mitch knows we co-manage leagues together. You can't take it with you.
Yep.
You can't spend.
To me though, JB, I'll just close. It's like a 4th round running back. Like, you know, he busts.
Yeah.
And again, just watching the Georgia games, he's a young kid. He's 20. And when he was out there and healthy, he's explosive. So 4th round flyer, I'll take it.
All right. I'm going to go with a 7th round flyer in Brashard Smith. They brought back Kareem Hunt, but we know if there is a team that doesn't care about draft capital, if they're willing to give an opportunity to somebody that's producing, they're looking for playmakers. Brashard Smith, he adds an element, especially in the receiving game, that we don't get from Isaiah Pacheco. Not to say Isaiah Pacheco can, work out of the backfield as a receiving option, but I'm going to go Brashard Smith here at the 308.
Real quick, what are you doing with Jonathan Brooks? If you're offered a late second, you take him in a heartbeat. If you're offered a 3rd, you take him in a heartbeat. I understand if you want to keep him on your team for a 4th, but if you get a 2nd and then a couple 3rds added on, you smash that every second of the day.
That's fair, man. That guy's injuries history is rough. I feel bad for him, but still rooting for him, but long road back.
Exactly.
All right, Dan, we got the 309.
I'm going to go a bet on talent here. There's a handful of guys I like here in the 4th round. This is very often I try to trade and get a few 4ths. I like the 4th round more than years past. I really do. I think there's some potential. But I'm going to go with Pat Bryant. I'm looking at opportunity again here in Denver. You know, I don't want to fall too much for the coach speak of Coach Payton because he's not always honest. But when I look at the rest of the Denver receivers, love Sutton. We all do. We've talked about him in many episodes, but he's not getting any younger. Marvin Mims has potential. Vele played okay last year. But, man, there's a clear path if this guy really produces. And he is a tough possession receiver. I enjoyed watching his film. If Coach does say he reminds some of Mike Thomas, in the 4th round, I'll drink the Kool-Aid and take a chance. So give me Pat Bryant.
I saw a comment earlier about why take Etienne. He's the 3rd running back on this team. I mean, yes, they brought in Rico Dowdle, but there
1
is
year, $5 million, right? It's a cheap contract.
There is still upward mobility there that I'm putting Trevor Etienne again, as I say, I'm not like a pro Etienne guy by any means, but and I'm also very pro Chuba Hubbard.
You know what happens?
Why am I defending the pick?
Thanks, JB. They'll be at Carolina's practice, and they'll watch Rico. I'm a Cowboys fan. He's a tough, solid runner, reliable like Rico. But then Etienne will get it, and he'll turn the corner, and he'll be gone for a 60, 70-yard touchdown, and the whole sidelines will be cheering. And that speed is going to entice the coaches. As long as this kid learns the playbook, he can protect and do what he needs to do. He's got a shot. So, again, 4th round gamble.
All right, Mitch, your last pick. This team already took Quinshon Judkins and Shuck Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you got at 310?
So there's 3 running. I'm just going to say, because it's my last pick, I wish I had a couple more picks, but I don't. So my 3 running backs that I like here, Devin Neal, DJ Giddens, and I kind of like Ollie Gordon. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get killed in the comments, but I don't care. I'm going to go Ollie Gordon here. It's not because I think he's better than the other guys. I just think he offers something that nobody else does in that Miami offense. Like, they don't have that huge bruiser back. They have Alexander Madison, and we know A-Chain's there. They have Jalen Wright. It's just speed guys, but they don't have that thumper. And I think Ollie Gordon's giving them something to where I think he will immediately be on the game day roster compared to DJ Giddens. He's probably the running back 2, could be the running back 3. If he doesn't play special teams as a running back 3, guess what? It's probably not going to be on the game day roster. Devin Neal, who knows what's going to happen there. So I'll take the shot on Ollie Gordon there.
I don't mind Ollie. You mentioned Giddens. I think he's got, some of that backup running back potential. He's not going to fill in and replace Jonathan Taylor, that 1-for-1 basis, like I mentioned earlier, similar to what they do with the Rams. You mentioned Devin Neal. Yes, a 6th-round pick, but plenty of opportunity there. We'll see if Kellen Moore likes Kendre Miller. Somebody might. Maybe it's Kellen Moore to fill in behind Alvin Kamara. I'm surprised you didn't mention Jordan James in your list.
I love Jordan James, but we're talking about him on Trending Fantasy this week, so I didn't want to bring him up because we don't talk about Ollie Gordon a lot. So I just want to put his name out there that, like, I do think in this area he's a pretty good pick that just never gets spoken of.
Jordan James, he fits that 49ers scheme perfectly. Yep. He fits it perfectly. So if he were to get an opportunity, I think he could elevate himself up to that running back 2 spot. At the 311 though, it's been running backs galore for me over here. He's gonna go. He goes earlier than this, so this price point not realistic, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna go Shedeur Sanders.
Honestly, he goes here in most of my drafts, to be honest.
He
really close.
Yes, 5th-round pick. We all know about the slide. We know about the questions in terms of his maturity, the way he showed up to interviews, whatever you want to believe and whatever information is out there. Okay. But we talked about Tyler Shuck in New Orleans with a team that needs to, they're in salary cap hell. The Browns, they have to live with that contract they gave Deshaun Watson. They've restructured it a few times. Look at that quarterback room, guys. That is a wide open quarterback room. So if I can potentially get a starting quarterback, maybe not day one, but somebody that can earn his spot there at the 311, sign me up. I'll take Shedeur there at 311. Again, wide range here. Looks like he's going 211 in a lot of drafts. Mitch saying he's seen middle of the 3rd. So, and then this is honest. This is a good comment here from Homeboy. Can't look at Sanders draft capital. It's not real. Such a unique and weird. Like, you're telling me Dylan Gabriel is better than Shedeur Sanders,
but at the same point, 31 other teams kept passing him up over and over. Like he
know,
did end up going to the Browns, who we all felt like he was going to go to. So we could tell the narrative pretty easily. But at the same time, 31 other teams for 4.5, for almost 5 rounds, 5.5 rounds, we're like, no, we're good. And they were like, well, since he went to the Browns, now we could talk ourselves into it. And everyone knows how much I loved Sanders going into the draft.
You liked him.
My quarterback 1. At some point, the NFL has told us something, and you can believe they came up with this huge monopoly because of this one rookie player. I'm sorry. I don't think these NFL owners could do that even if they tried. I just don't think there's actually a chance the NFL being able to pull it off. So if you could be like, yeah, all of the owners just flat out agreed, we're going to let him fall, but then we're still going to allow him to go to the Browns. If they thought he was good, they would have drafted him for their team, but they just didn't because they didn't think he was good enough to produce. All these teams want to win Super Bowls. They want to go to the playoffs. They decided that Shedeur Sanders can't help them. I'm sorry. There wasn't this grand conspiracy over it. They just didn't think he was good enough. That's just the way that it is. Maybe he is. Maybe he goes out, becomes a top 10 quarterback, and he's awesome. They didn't believe it.
Okay. Mitch getting fired up there.
Just really, a little bit.
Before we throw the 312 out there from Dan, Francis says, damn, I'm on the clock at 107 in the same format. Henderson is still there, but I got him at 103 in another league today. I'm tight end needy. Tempted between, he corrects himself, RJ, so RJ Harvey, or Tyler Warren. Who do we prefer? Mitch, you're still RJ Harvey.
Yes, sir.
Dan, you went Tyler Warren over RJ Harvey.
I go back to Daniel Jeremiah, who I have a lot of respect for, and like those tight ends were like top 10 overall NFL prospects And if we're talking tight end premium and your tight end needy in Dynasty, this is a deep running back draft. I would take Warren and figure out running back.
I'm still taking Henderson. I don't care that you took
It's
the
fair.
103. Take him again.
And I would say if you do go that Henderson, which I can make that argument as well, then I would try to be aggressive and get a Mason Taylor in the second round. Figure out your tight end another way.
All right, Dan, bring us home. 312.
Mr. Irrelevant here. So in hindsight, like you sniped me on Shador. I think I probably would have taken Milroe back where ETN was, but okay, I can't be sour grapes. So guys on my board right now, DJ Giddens, we mentioned, I like Jalen Knowles, a nice guy I like here. Jalen Royals in Kansas City, maybe, Fannin at tight end. There's a bunch of guys on my board, but I am going to take, I know there's a Detroit Lion fan. So just to get him in here, I saw Mitch taking him a lot in the 4th round. I love his 405 short shuttle. Tim Patrick's not getting any younger. They tried to trade JMO. Yeah. They were very aggressive drafting him. Give me the raw prospect in Isaac Tesla. I'll take a flyer here. That one's for you, Mitch, for the last pick of the draft.
I like it. I may have selected him once, but it was probably in a 16-team league. I don't think I've done it more than that.
Mitch, I think for some reason we were in a couple fourth round of like 2-3 leagues, and I kept seeing you take them, and then I thought you were going to take him another league, and you went in a different direction. But
that's fine.
Hey, if he can continue his 20-yard per reception pace, 28 receptions, a little over 500 yards last year. Very impressive for the small sample there in the number of receptions. All right. So here's our board. I don't want to run through it. The chat has been fantastic. The comments, a lot of pro, a lot of against, and I get that, but that is what comes with a draft and a class with so much variance and a lack of consensus. You could go through and nitpick, certain things in the 1st round, certainly, but once you hit that middle of the 2nd, all bets are off.
Yep.
And, who I may have at the middle of the 2nd, Mitch is saying I wouldn't take them until the middle of the 3rd. Matthew Golden equals pitchforks out. Yes, Frank. And I'm not even a pro Matthew Golden guy, and I'm still ending up with some shares. All right. It's after episode 290. I got to go see exactly what episode number we are on of Dynasty Theory. Dan, final thoughts. What do you got for everybody tonight?
Short and sweet, man. This was our 5th annual mock draft for the record. So we got a 5-year data set here, which is pretty cool. I'll be looking forward to just kind of going back and reflecting on that. And then we also do a pre and post draft. So we got some good information. But other than that, guys, I got to get back to making trades here in my rookie drafts.
All right. Before I turn it over to Mitch, again, the chat was fantastic. Make sure you have any questions, any comments after we go off the air. Drop it in the comments. We're pretty good about replying pretty quickly too. And then make sure you like the video. You hit the subscribe button. There's a ton of new content coming out almost on a daily basis here at DD Fantasy Football. All right, Mitch, final thoughts. What do you got?
All I'm going to say is we get a lot of comments asking for trades, and usually it's just a quick little blurb. If you join the community, I promise we go a lot more in depth on the Discord than what we can in YouTube comments, because the YouTube likes to delete comments for whatever. You could just type in one word and it's like, no, that's spam, and it deletes it. So if you want to talk trades, just join the community for a month. I guarantee if you do it once, you are not going to leave, because everybody stays once they get in there.
That's over at ddfantasyfootball.com. The link is in the episode description below. And if you use code THEORY, THEORY, you get 50% off your first month. And like Mitch said, typically when people come check it out, they stick around. But you also get my cross-positional dynasty tiers, which includes all of the rookies and all that good stuff. For Mitch Sorensen, Dan Lamagna, I'm John Bauer. We'll catch everybody next week. Peace.